Today in the battle arena, we got a kaiju fight.
Good. No more kaijus. No more kaijus.
That's right, it's King Kong versus Leatherback, the weird, almost lizard gorilla monster from Pacific Rim. So who's gonna come out on top here? Who's gonna win? Let's find out. What's up, guys? I'm Daniel, and this is DanCo. Thank you so much for watching the channel. Make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe button, and turn notifications. More videos like this one every week. It really does help us out a ton in that algorithm. Also, go follow us on TikTok. Link in the description down below, and sign off in the comments for any future videos that you would love to see. Now let's get into the fight. So Kong is the ruler of Skull Island, or I guess was. Now he's down in the Hollow Earth, and he's been ruling and being an Alpha Titan for literally millions of years. Yeah, Kong has been alive for millions of years, and he could potentially be around for millions more, because the only way he can die is if he's killed. He cannot die from old age. Which, I mean, does make it kind of weird that he went from being a baby to like a teenager over millions of years, then a teenager to an adult over 30. But you can't really be expecting scientific accuracy here. If you're going to look for plot holes in a movie about a giant gorilla versus a giant lizard, you're gonna find them. It's best to ignore all that and have fun on the ride. Anyway, so after beating the giant skullcrawler and facing off against Samuel L. Jackson, Kong had to fight Godzilla next. Because once you've already beaten Sam Jackson, there's really no other man that's gonna be a threat to you. No, you gotta go up and face off against a giant mutant radiation lizard. That's the only next step up. And I want to focus in on his encounters with Godzilla here. Okay, so Godzilla is a monster. Big boy. Actually, one of the biggest versions of Godzilla that we've ever seen. He's almost 400 feet tall and 100,000 tons. So keep that in mind when I show you this stuff. Their first fight was definitely in Godzilla's element. So Kong had to use destroyers and aircraft carriers as basically footholds in order to fight back. Godzilla gets him under the water, tries to drown him, and Kong is able to strangle him right back, using his strength to outmuscle Godzilla under the water and escape. And that's not me saying that, that's Eric Pearson, one of the writers of the movie, who said that. That's how it played out. So that was their first fight, and then there was the second fight, the knockdown, drag-out fight, the one that you paid $15 for a movie ticket to go see. Or if you were like me, just put on HBO Max to watch. Okay, so the movie doesn't actually do a great job at demonstrating this, or at least I don't think it did, but the fight actually starts at sunset in Hong Kong and doesn't let up until dawn. So they're fighting for like 12 hours here, and it is a hard-fought fight. And even if Godzilla technically won by the end, Kong definitely got his hits in. I mean, look at this. And really listen to this. You cannot tell me that Godzilla wasn't feeling each and every one of those punches that Kong was sending his way. Not even to mention that they were destroying like all of Hong Kong while they had it out. We don't really talk about it much, but Godzilla and Kong probably killed at least tens of thousands of people in this fight. But we don't care about human casualties, so back to the monsters fighting. Because Kong did not just dish it out, he also took it from Godzilla. Remember, that fight went over a 12-hour span. Kong took plenty of attacks from Godzilla throughout it. And I mean, Godzilla did end up winning too. So eventually Kong was beaten here and had to be revived to get back into the land of the living. So his durability has its limits. We've seen what can take him out. But if it requires a 12-hour fight with the literal king of the monsters to beat you, then I'm not going to hold that against you. You're freaking tough, man. I'm not going to knock that for you. It also means that Kong was operating at half strength when he had to fight against Mechagodzilla. And Mechagodzilla is unlike anything they had seen before. If Godzilla is a force of nature, and Kong is more like a wise master, Mechagodzilla is just a jerk. He's gonna fight dirty, and that's what they gotta go up against here at half strength. And again, not my words. That's from the overall VFX supervisor of the movie. That's who said that. So this is Kong at 50% here, and he's still able to help kick Mechagodzilla's butt. He gets in there with his axe and starts trying to chop things up. And when Godzilla helps out his new little buddy and supercharges the axe, well, it's all over at that point. Kong just goes to town, starts wrecking shop, and takes Mechagodzilla out. And that axe is also a big part of how Kong fights. Not the axe specifically, although, yes, that too, but it also shows that he fights with some level of skill, some out of the box thinking, and some just straight on the fly ingenuity. He was doing this all the way back on Skull Island. He did it in Hong Kong. It's just a part of who he is. For basically just a giant animal, Kong doesn't really fight like an animal. Like Godzilla, he fights like an animal. Leatherback fights like an animal too. Kong doesn't. Kong fights like a warrior. But let's flip over and talk about Leatherback here for a second, because it's not like he doesn't have anything going for him too. He's a Category 4 kaiju from Pacific Rim, where basically all the kaiju are ranked from a Category 1 to a 5. Now I guess the existence of this guy kind of ruins the whole scaling system, but he wasn't around back then, so we don't have to address that. So this scale, the Serizawa scale, actually measures 3 things: water displacement, toxicity levels, and ambient radiation. And it basically equals out to the higher the number, the more powerful the kaiju. So Leatherback is a Category 4. He basically looks like a giant gorilla, just in reptile form. That's really why I thought a fight between him and Kong would be so much fun in the first place. He'll walk around on all 4 limbs and his knuckles, with those fists that almost look like those giant mace things that the knights used to swing around. What were they called? Morning Stars. Morning Stars. Sounds more like a breakfast food company, but no, it'll just bash your skull right in. Now, Leatherback isn't necessarily the smartest kaiju out there. I mean, sure, he'll do a few hit and run tactics or sneak up behind somebody, but nothing like Kong. Instead, Leatherback really just relies on his strength and his scales and durability to basically allow him to outmuscle any opponent. Then hopefully be able to take enough damage and survive long enough to allow him to beat the Jaegers into pieces. And it's really worked out quite well for him. He tore Cherno Alpha to shreds, destroyed that Jaeger, then fought against Gypsy Danger too. And yeah, he lost that fight, but definitely went down swinging and showed just some impressive strength and toughness there. Now, really, his greatest asset is the fact that he's able to launch out an EMP, which shuts down all the electronics in the Jaegers. But tell me, how is that going to work against Kong? It's going to do nothing against Kong. Nothing. That's not how EMPs work. And so that basically means that the winner here is just the kaiju who can overpower and outmuscle the other one. And tell me, how is that not Kong? How in any way is that not Kong? For starters, Kong is bigger and heavier. Sure, he might be smaller than Godzilla, but he's still 340 feet and 90,000 tons. Leatherback is 270 feet tall and 3,000 tons. Now, this is a common thing, as none of the weights in Pacific Rim really make any sense. Like, for how big these things are, they are as light as a feather. But even if we throw the weight out, Kong is still bigger than Leatherback. Kong is stronger, he's tougher, he's smarter, he's fought against and beaten bigger and more powerful monsters before. And plus, he's actually got a weapon here. He's throwing around the axe. That's really no joke. So yeah, I don't see how Kong doesn't dispatch this guy the same way he would the Skullcrawler or the Warbats or any other minor kaiju. There might be some kaiju that can beat Kong, but Leatherback is not one of them. Kong wins. But what do y'all think? Who do you think wins this fight? Kong versus Leatherback. Who do you want to see King Kong fight next? Do you want to see Leatherback in another fight? Sign off in the comments down below. Also be sure that like button, subscribe button, and turn on notifications from the DanCo army. And I'll see y'all next time.